What's the name of this place?
Bradwell-on-Sea.
Okay.
Bradwell-on-Sea, yeah.
Well, okay, that's the name of the village.
Yeah,
yes.
and this is Graysdale Farm, and it's part of Tower Hill Stables Animal Sanctuary. It's extra facility. Tower Hill Stables is about 5 miles down the road, and in between we've got 4 more sites with horses on. And then this site here, which is the newest site, where we've actually expanded to and brought a lot of the large animals, the cows and the horses up here. But you'll be able to see them all. They're all out in the fields.
This is actually the place where you spend most of your time.
I spend most of my time here. Martin spends his time now down at the other site, and my parents live here with me. And the help of a few volunteers, we manage the whole thing. So it's a big project.
Okay, so we just arrived. I would like very much to visit your place. Could you please show us a little bit?
Yeah, come and look round. Yeah. So here are some of the horses. They're all in for different reasons, so if we start in the fields and then we work back round. There's some building work done here, making another pen for another pig to come.
How big is this place?
This is 42 acres altogether, so they've got 42 acres of grazing, and when we moved in here it was beautiful grazing because it's not been used for 20 years. It's only had hay cut off it. But the unfortunate thing is, it wasn't fenced. So we've had a big project on, or these guys have had a big project on to get it fenced. And when you actually see the extent of it, what we've had done, you'll see why it was such a big project.
How did you start this, I would say, activity?
I've always done small-scale rescue, you know, had a few chickens, had a few cats, had horses at livery yards or farms. In 1996, one of the horses had a bad accident, nearly lost him. It was due to the farmer that I was keeping the horses at. He allowed people to go into the field and shoot. My horse, Oscar, he became impaled on a fence, ripped his hindquarter out, terrible barbed wire injury, and we nearly lost him. And at that point we said, we can't continue doing this. We can't continue spending all our money, giving it to someone else to just not look after the animals properly, basically. So that's when we went all out to try and buy a small place with some land, the maximum we could afford, to do the rescue. That's when we bought the other site, Tower Hill Stables Animal Sanctuary, which was literally just an equestrian property, a few acres of land and a bungalow. And from there on, it started to expand. The idea was always that I would stay at home and look after the animals, and Martin would go to work to pay for it. It's just grown from there, 25 years on or whatever, and here we are, expanding still.
How do you manage training and working in this huge place every day? It must be a hell of a job.
It is a big job. It's just discipline. I mean, I wouldn't suggest that somebody could just be plonked down here and do it, but it's grown with me, very organically grown with me. So now, I mean, I've always been an early riser, but I actually get up at 3:30 in the morning. That's the way I manage it.
3:30 in the morning?
Yes.
At what time are you going to
9,
sleep?
10 o'clock at night. I'm lucky I don't need a lot of sleep. And this is every day, this is 7 days a week. Here we have the Highland cattle. When these cows came, funnily enough, they were going to slaughter. The 2 mothers were actually going to slaughter. Because they're very aesthetically pleasing, Highland cattle, people want an old Highland cow. If they've got a large property, they might want one of them to graze on the property. He was trying to look for homes for them. Unfortunately, the guy that was going to take them let him down. So he contacted me and said, will you take the 2 girls, the two females? And I said, you know, okay. And he brought them over, and his parting words to me were, they're not pregnant, don't worry. And then a few months later, Fernando arrived, and then 3 months after that, little Fritha arrived. So now we've got 4 Highland cows.
It's really interesting with this breed. They're a native breed. They haven't been genetically modified in any way. And when you actually look at them, they carry only enough milk for their own babies. In fact, the day when they were born, I didn't realise that they were pregnant. We got an idea from the size of them, but all the animals here are quite rotund, so we weren't 100% sure. When they actually gave birth, their udders are very small. They're not, you know, they aren't massively overwhelmed with milk.
What do they like most when you want to be kind with them?
I honestly believe that they like the security of being around their own kind. They like routine. They're very much like humans. They only want what they need. They need food, water, shelter, but security and routine, and no stress. If they're relaxed, they're very, very easy to manage. very easy to manage. And for instance, I can try to reassure them that everything's all right. They like to not be moved around, they don't like things to differ too much, they like a feed routine, they like to know when their food's coming, that there's going to be enough food. Just the security of knowing that they can wander in peace, that they're not going to be strangers around them all the time, that they've got the security of knowing who delivers the care to them, so that they trust you. If an animal as large as this wants to be aggressive, I can't manage that. I mean, they've got to want to work with you, and the way they want to work with you is through kindness.
How do they show they are happy to see you?
By doing what they're doing now, just sitting there. They're quite content to have you in their space.
Okay.
If not, they just get up and wander off. They would be, I don't want you here, I don't feel comfortable with you around me.
Okay.
They know that we're friends.
Do they have any mimic like the dog with the tail, or I don't know? You can see by the eyes.
It's more the eyes with these. I mean, just the very fact that they're allowing you into their space is enough. Individually, they've got little traits to show that they're happy to have you around them, but generally, they just like to just be with you. This is as big a compliment as a cow can pay you.
What's the best way to approach an animal when he doesn't know you? Is it better not to look into his eyes, or is there any rule?
To be honest with you, don't assume or presume anything. You can learn to pick up the signs of whether they're comfortable, whether you're pushing it a little bit too far. Work at their pace, not at your pace. That's the best advice. And each animal is an individual. Unless you've been around that animal for years and years and years, as we have with Woodstock, you don't know what's actually impacting on their behaviour. They might have had bad experience after bad experience, and a lot of them have. So you've got to work at their pace.
Do you have any plan for this place, or are you just living day by day?
We plan to be able to live day by day and to be able to deliver this kind of care. We don't plan too much into the future because nobody knows the future, but if we can continue on, that's enough for us. I don't want to expand forever because I like to deliver the care myself. I think that's the continuity of care is very, very important. I know these animals individually, so I know what somebody might think is normal for an animal, I know isn't. That means that I can deliver a special kind of care that other people couldn't. It's not an asylum, it's not just a business, it's their home and they are individuals, and I want them to be treated that way. So pretty much this is as much as I can manage. You know, I do everything. We've got the 6 sites, we manage it very much ourselves. With the help of volunteers.
Do you have many volunteers?
On a regular basis, no, we don't have any, but we do have work parties. We have people who volunteer regularly in terms of, they might say on a Thursday, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, but on a day-to-day, we don't have people coming in daily, no. People are always welcome to come. We are very, very careful about how we introduce people into their home, because we can't explain to the animals that today 100 children are coming or something like that. So we prefer to work on an individual basis, small groups of people, so it doesn't actually kind of impact on the animals too much, and actually we can explain to people rather than just them all coming and not having individual time to actually explain to them why we do things the way we do.
So how many animals do you have altogether?
Between here and the other sites we've got about 500.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of animals.
It's very expensive.
Between about £10,000 and £15,000 a month to feed them. Yeah, to do it responsibly. You've got to do things responsibly. You've got to. It's no good just taking animals in to a sanctuary if you can't deliver sanctuary to them. You've got to do it responsibly.
What is the most important thing for you to make sand meats?
Just generating funds and getting out there and getting the sanctuary. People know about what we do.
You mean by donations?
Yeah, by donations or fundraising events, whatever. And also actually now the most important thing is actually passing on this information of sustainability, educating people. I don't really want there to have to be a sanctuary. I don't want to run a sanctuary. I don't want there to be a need for a sanctuary to exist, but there is at the moment. Education is the way forward, I think, letting people come and interact individually with the animals and learn that these animals do have a personality. Because we've got one step in the door. People accept that dogs and cats are part of their family. I want to just extend that and push the barrier back and say, but what's the difference between a cow and a pig and a sheep? They're all part of our global family.
Do you sometimes feel obliged to run these marathons just because you need to get visibility for the sanctuary?
Yeah, I mean, when I started to run, I mean, I'm not the best person to be running at all because I was told that I would never walk properly again, let alone run after these multiple surgeries on my knees as a teenager. And people say, well, why did you take up running then? Well, I'd already come from a cycling background because cycling was continuous motion, no impact. And the only reason I thought about running was I was desperate to I realised soon after getting the sanctuary, the other place, that I can't rescue all the animals. We need to stop the need for them to be rescued. We need to address that issue. And I wanted to do something back in the early noughties, and the only thing I could think of was a sport. And there was no interest in women's sport whatsoever, but in the UK there was quite a lot of interest in marathon running because of Paula Radcliffe. So it was literally, I was thinking to myself, I better get good at marathon running. I kind of realised that you would need to invest a lot of energy in it. And I'm thinking, well, actually, it's free advertising for the sanctuary and positive advertising for veganism. So it's kind of a double win if I can kind of sacrifice and put myself out to do it. I don't actually love running, I have to say. I don't enjoy it particularly. I enjoy the fact that I can run or kind of hop or limp or whatever it is I do, but I don't enjoy the fact of the training and thinking, I've got to do 100 miles and I've got to fit sessions in here, there and everywhere. But I think I'm probably more inspired than most to do it because I've got a very tangible reason to be out there other than like a trophy or a Garmin or a time or something like that. There's actually a bigger reason for me to be doing it.
But I think that at the end, this is what are you doing? It's working very well because people like us are coming from different countries here, not in London. They take the train, the train, they come to see you.
Yeah, I hope it works. I mean, I never actually think too much about what I'm doing. I just do it because it comes from the heart. I mean, people do write to me and say, how do I get a sanctuary? And I can't say, oh, I'll pop a leaflet in the post, how to get a sanctuary. Grab any opportunity. It kind of happens. And if you've got to ask how to do it, you're probably not the best person to be doing it. It's in your heart. It's very, very difficult. It's actually exhausting. It's financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, very, 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 very hard work, but it is worth it. Is it a sacrifice? No, it isn't really. It's just something I do very, very naturally. But it's not for everyone. It's definitely not for everyone. It's a very, very great and deep commitment. Isn't it, Woodstock? Gerda came to the sanctuary 7 months pregnant with Pancake. She'd been put into a slaughter sale. So she was going to slaughter and they had to declare the fact that she was pregnant because obviously cattle in markets are sold on their weight and they would consider that that was a falsity to sell a calf inside her because it's not meat, it would be a dead weight. Anyway, we managed to rescue her and she came to the sanctuary. She was absolutely frightened to death. She was very aggressive. We weren't 100% sure she was pregnant. We thought she was, and she gave birth to little Pancake 2 months later. She hid him to start with. She hid him behind a bale of straw, and I came up to feed everybody, and I kind of pushed my wheelbarrow along, and it was like double take, and there he was. She was extraordinarily possessive of him, to the point of she would literally go and attack you and try to really, really kill you to keep him away. And when the vet explained, she's probably had 7 or 8 calves in the past that have all been taken away from her immediately, so she's desperate to keep one calf, and now she's got a wish. There he is, little Pancake. But she's always there with him, just watching him.
Do you have any kind of network among different sanctuaries?
Yeah, obviously all sanctuaries are busy. All people who run sanctuaries are busy, but you do communicate for things like animals that need help or a home. If you can't manage or haven't got room, you might know somebody who has. But there is a network, but to be honest with you, I probably spend most of my time, if I'm going to speak to anyone, there's a couple of sanctuaries I interact with, but other than that, you kind of deal with your own little bit. Obviously, it's more for you've been asked to take in animals and, if you can't help, that next person might be able to. It's a very, very fine line you tread when you run an animal sanctuary. For instance, people come here and they say to me, oh, at least the animals are safe now. And I say, whatever gives you that impression? Well, they're here, they're safe forever. No, they're not. They're safe until something happens. They're safe until you get an outbreak of something. Bear in mind, I was running the sanctuary back in 2001 and we had an outbreak in the UK of foot and mouth disease. It started 4 miles as the crow flies across the estuary at a slaughterhouse called Shields in Brentwood. For a year and a half, it was absolute nightmare. There was no on-off movement of animals. And if it wasn't just if your animals were safe, if a farmer down the road got foot and mouth, then your animals would be in an exclusion zone and they would be culled. It was a horrible, horrible period of time. So it's difficult now because the government legislation dictates that it's easier to have animals confined. So if they're in big units or in intense units, if there is an outbreak and a disease outbreak, they can actually quickly shut it down. So they don't actually like places like this where animals roam freely. They'd rather have them behind closed doors, just for financial reasons more than anything. It's always very, very difficult. The cattle, the sheep, the pigs, they're part of the national herd. So I care for them, and what I choose to do with them is different to what 99.9% of these animals have done to them. But in essence, they revert back to the national herd if there is an outbreak. So they're never 100% safe. They're as safe as I can possibly make them, but I don't have jurisdiction over them, you know, entirely. That comes down to the government, you know, and if there is an outbreak of something, they will take them. There's nothing I can do about that.
And we've got up to the sea in front of us.
Yeah. It's a very, very beautiful and secluded spot for them to be. I like them to have as natural environment as possible under management as can be afforded sensibly. So they'll follow the sun today, they'll follow it round, and wherever there's sun they'll go and lay and then they'll move on. But here, I mean, it's just wonderful for them to be able to select where they're going to go, have freedom of choice, freedom of movement as much as I can possibly provide.
It seems that you are thinking only about their future and you're not talking about your own future.
My future and their future is just intertwined. They are my future. If I have one, it will always be for them. When I was in the desert filming with Keegan, I said there isn't really a Fiona. Everything is dedicated to the animals in some shape or form. So obviously if I die, I've got their future sorted out in terms of financial security.
Who's going to take over after you?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, in the future, I'll have to see how it grows. I mean, it's grown enormously. It's not what I planned to do. I didn't plan at 6 years old to sit down and have world records in a marathon, and I didn't plan to have an animal sanctuary this big. So now it's the point where I've got that, and now I've got to start addressing those issues. Probably it will get taken over, I don't know, by... I would hope there would be no need to have a sanctuary in the future, to be honest with you. I would hope that the fact that veganism will become so popular, there will be no need for these animals to be rescued. It will probably be taken over by people who just run it as a sanctuary rather than it. I'm the heart of it, if you like. It's grown with me. So a part of it will die when I die, probably the way it's run. You wouldn't find anybody, I think, to work like I do. I work 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It will just become more like a place of care for the animals rather than something I want it to be, which is an absolute home for them, run on their terms, not on mine. I don't have children, so there'll be no children taking it over. My niece might take on the mantle. She's very interested, so hopefully she will and take over the mantle from me.
When do you get time to
firefight? We're a retained station, so you are available when you're available and you're not available when you're not available. So I joined and I could be available at the weekends when Martin was around, or in the evenings when the animals have gone to bed, bank holidays or holiday times. But yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to... I only joined by default. I was running along the road one day and a guy pulled up next to me and said, hey you look fit. Would you like to join the fire brigade? And I was like, I didn't even know there was a fire brigade around here. And he said, yeah, you've got a retained fire brigade, you know, and we're looking for people who are fit enough to basically pass the bleep test. And so I went down there, and that's when I decided, yeah, it was a good thing to join. It was flexible, it brought in some money for the sanctuary. It also enabled me to introduce veganism to an audience that probably never really thought about it before. I mean, when I joined the fire brigade, there were no other females in the fire brigade, let alone vegan females. That was whoa, you know. So
Yeah.
Do they ask them about your diet?
Very much so, yeah, very much so. It's like, you know, but they know.
The most important thing with the horses and the cattle is they're forage feeders. They must trickle feed all day, so they must have readily available forage 24/7. That's what they need most of all. This food, to keep the guts working, they must have access to this kind of quantity. And they eat a lot. I mean, they eat an awful lot. I mean, you're talking about a big bale like that, they'll probably, the animals here alone will probably have 20 of those a week. So they do eat a lot.
Why do they have to eat 24 hours a day?
Their intestines are designed, they can't be sick. For an animal like this can't be sick. So if they aren't moving all the time, their intestines, they get colic. Colic is just an impaction in the stomach and it has to come out through the back end. They can't be sick. They have to evacuate it through the rectum. So they have to keep moving. That's a demonstration
English
of yeah. That's a demonstration. Pebbles, thank you very, very much.
So their intestine is working
all the time,
all day long.
pushing the food through. It must be pushed. Horses are susceptible to colic. They've got massively inefficient intestines. If they get colic, surgery is it doesn't work. They very often die on it. So the best way to do is keep them moving all the time.
And why they can get the colic?
Because their intestines are very, very long, very, very long intestines, and at any point, very, very thin, it can get impacted in there, and they can't shift it. Then when they do get an impaction, the only thing they can do to rectify it, they tend to keep getting up and down and laying down and laying. Then they can twist even further, twist their intestines and make it even worse. So you just need to keep them on this kind of food and keep them eating all day. Good quality forage is what's most important. Olive hasn't been here very long. Farmer brought her because she'd had a calf. It had died inside her, and she nearly died herself evacuating the body. And he felt sorry for her basically. He was going to send her to slaughter and he decided to send her here, but she's had pneumonia. So this is a consequence of she's damaged her lungs, so she has a little bit of difficulty breathing, so the vet's coming tomorrow to put her on some more antibiotics, isn't it? But we did figure it might cheer her up to put the calves with her.
Why they don't have horns?
Some do, it's just a breed. Some are bred out, some of the horns have been bred out. I mean, a lot of these cows are genetically modified. They're kind of human-created breeds, especially the Friesians. They're just products of the dairy industry. I mean, they literally were snatched away from their mothers at a day old. I don't think they had colostrum, these little cows. They're very poor. 2 or 3 of them had pneumonia and we nearly lost them. So that's why they're kept separate. Hello, Dina. Come on. Come on out.
She's running.
Yeah.
Running. They're expecting something to eat from you?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, they expect good things when I'm around. So they come out on the off chance. Hello, sweetie.
What's the right way to cuddle a pig?
Any way you fancy, any way you fancy. They're very, very strong, heavy breeds animals, so you won't hurt a pig. You can't hurt a pig.
And how can you tell if they are more intelligent than a dog, for example, like everybody is saying?
You start to learn how, when they do things, they've got very specific requirements. They're very clean, very self-motivated. They know what they like and they don't like. They're very intelligent in terms of, they know, for instance, they see me, they come out. They know what they want, they know what they don't want. I mean, there are tests which prove they're equally intelligent or more intelligent than dogs. Obviously, I don't run those tests. You can only observe from what, I mean, I believe all animals have equal intelligence. It's just the intelligence in different specialisation of areas, you know.
Yes.
Intelligence doesn't have to be necessarily in terms of if you can read and write. It can be doing other things that I can't do, for instance. I like to treat them all with dignity and equality, and but what that level of equality is depends on the animal, you know.
We spoke yesterday with Jordi, animal activist in London, and he was telling us that he studied the behavior of wasps, and he found out that they are very, very intelligent.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I can believe that.
In
Yeah.
a sense. So,
In their own context, yeah. So I think we're very, very guilty of just, as human beings, of stereotyping. You know, there's one way of being attractive, there's one, you know, and I don't do that. You know, I think they're all beautiful, all equal. I think the biggest compliment these animals can pay you to allow you into their world. Be relaxed about you coming there. Be so secure in their environment that nothing you're going to bring is bad, no harm.